I finally had a chance to catch up with Nightmare Alley, Guillermo del Toro's ode to film noir. Those who haven't seen it might want to avoid this review because I graze through spoiler territory here. But I want to warn you, just because I'm reviewing it here on ML Miller Frights, this isn't a horror film. It's a dark drama heavily influenced by early film noir. It's got shades of horror throughout, but those looking for Hellboy, Devil's Backbone, Pan's Labyrinth level shocks, thrills, and scares will be disappointed. Still, this film is definitely worth delving into, so step right up and let's begin. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications. Nightmare Alley is available streaming on Hbo Max and also available on Blu-ray DVD from Searchlight Pictures. It's directed by Guillermo del Toro and written by Guillermo del Toro, Kim Morgan, and based on the book by William Lindsay Gresham. Drifter Stanton Carlyle, played by Bradley Cooper, is taken in by a traveling carnival by sideshow barker Clem, played by Willem Dafoe, where he learns the tricks of the trade of being a mesmerist. He also meets performer Molly Cahill, played by Rooney Mara, and falls for her, convincing her to take their act on the road themselves. 5 years later, in Chicago, Stanton is running a successful psychic show with Molly, but Stanton's dreams of success and the perfect show seem to be never satiated. This is where Stanton meets Dr. Lilith Ritter, played by Cate Blanchette, who has a scheme to make a big score with millionaire Ezra Grindle, played by Richard Jenkins. But this ultimate scam threatens to destroy everything Stanton has built for himself. Nightmare Alley is a remake of the film noir classic from 1947 and the book of the same name by William Lindsay Gresham. And one can tell just by looking at it that Del Toro is absolutely in love with this era. He dives deep, making every locale look authentic and stylistically marvelous. You can feel the grit in your teeth during the carnival scenes and feel the warm glow of the extravagant Chicago nightclub sequences. I love it that Del Toro has achieved a level where all of his visions can be brought to life with no expenses spared building this seedy and untrusty world. Like film noirs of old, Del Toro plays with wonderful black and white cross-cutting silhouettes and deep, deep shadows in his cinematography. Del Toro also layers his film with thematic levels of evil from top to bottom. It's a tale from a simpler time, but one as dark and dangerous as can be, with deception and suspicion running high from beginning to end. It tells the tale of an average guy with big dreams and how those dreams overwhelm and overcome him. It's the type of story that's been told a million times. The big difference is that no one is really telling this type of story these days, and it takes a filmmaker with Del Toro's clout to make it. I wish Nightmare Alley would have been more of a financial success, as it would be great to see this epic film spark a new resurgence of noir tales. As is, those of you who love those old films of gumshoes, heists, best laid plans, and femme fatales, this is the film for you. With a production of this size and scope, it's almost unnecessary to mention the acting. It's top tier. Bradley Cooper does a fantastic job of being a likable con man. You see him grow from nothing to the top of his game, and he exudes a level of charisma that few leads have. Rooney Mara is lovely as Molly with a porcelain statuesque look to her. She's one of the few truly good characters in the film, though her character does tend to blend into the background when the bigger, badder characters take the stage. Cate Blanchette is fabulous, and from the get-go, she's obviously not to be trusted as the femme fatale. The triangle between these characters is a wonderful dance between morality and sin. Del Toro has littered this film with wonderful background players who make their distinct mark to the narrative because of their recognizable faces and over-the-top personalities. Toni Collette, Willem Dafoe, David Strathairn, Richard Jenkins, Mary Steenburgen, Jim Beaver, Holt McCallany, and of course Del Toro mainstay Ron Perlman all make even the bit parts worth paying attention to. Nightmare Alley is quite long. It's an epic story that spans across a few decades, bigger in scope than most films made today. But be sure to set a lot of time to watch this film because it is long. I was never bored with the film, as Del Toro has built such an immersive world for his characters to betray each other in. I came into Nightmare Alley knowing nothing about the original or the book, so I didn't know the ending, but I ended up predicting it from probably the 15-minute mark of the film. That's a long time to wait to be right, and while I won't reveal the end here, I will say that if you've seen enough films, you're going to predict the fates of the leads too. My only real other complaint about Nightmare Alley was that Cate Blanchette's character is kind of evil just to be evil. I didn't really get her motivation other than simply representing the crucial femme fatale role. I know back in the day simplistic characters were forgiven, but nowadays characters need to have some kind of reason for being who they are. We're given a thorough description of how Stanton becomes who he is at the end throughout the film, but Blanchette shows up bad and just gets worse. Her reasoning for the things she does can simply be greed, but the role, which was very well acted, still felt rather vacant. That said, I loved every grimy, gritty, untrustworthy, suspicion-laden moment of Nightmare Alley. There are some very dark themes involving deception and betrayal, and the circus geek provides a gross-out moment or two. It's far from horror, but still very, very good and worth your time.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're